Welcome, everybody. It tastes different. Gaming appetizers. What's on the news today? Sad news. Xbox will not be making it to E3 this year. The world is shocked. As of E3 is set to return in 2023. It's hard to get all that out. And Microsoft has announced that they will not be part of the E3 show floor. And that sucks. Said the company will co-stream its June 11th Xbox Game Showcase as part of the E3 2023 digital component. Unfortunately, none of this is really a surprise. It's been reported recently Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo would not be officially involved with E3. Nintendo hasn't been a part of it for a while. Sony has been skipping it also. Microsoft has basically only been the only one out of the big three there. E3 news organizer Reed Pop announced this week that an unnamed AAA companies will appear at the event. So this has been a trend, essentially. You know, the pandemic really foobarred things for E3. They skipped, they showed, they skipped. And this year's back on, but it's back on missing some big boys. So let's jump to Nick on this and find out. Nick, what do you think about Microsoft saying, we'll pass, but we will milk off of you and have our own digital event?
Yeah, well, just following the trend of everybody else, right? Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It sucks because, you know, we all had long, distant dreams of going to E3, you know, whenever Nintendo and Sega and PlayStation and Xbox and everybody was there. Now, pretty much no one's there anymore, right? Besides smaller developers and stuff. I'm sure maybe Ubisoft might be there, but who cares about that, right? They'll have a little booth in the corner, you know, by the bathrooms. I think, you know, for Microsoft, it is what it is. You know, it's cost them a lot of money, I'm sure, to do the whole setup with the booth and everything like that. And so it's just easier and more cost effective for them just to do their own thing, right? Something digital event. So that's just what they're thinking about, right? But I think this might be a good opportunity for E3 to turn itself into something, still an event every year, but bring in more like smaller publishers and developers into that space and kind of making it, you know, shining those publishers and developers that don't get a lot of action on the show floor, more of that action in space, right? Kind of seeing those games that the big three are not, you know, trying to push out the door this year by some smaller publishers, maybe Warner Brothers there, and maybe EA's there, maybe Activision's there, maybe Blizzard's there, maybe some smaller ones like Deep Silver's there, you know, and stuff like that, to Codemasters and various things like that to show off, and maybe some indie developers that might be able to buy some booth space and stuff like that. So whenever, I'm sure the big IGN and GameSpot and things like that will probably go to E3. They usually have people there to do, you know, talks with different developers and kind of show the show floor and see what's there. That might give more limelight to them. So I think for E3, for the people that put on E3, maybe they should look at more of like, okay, the big three are not going to be there, but let's focus on the smaller ones, right? And kind of make it that. I think people would still come to something like that, right? Maybe they show off, and I'm sure they probably still do. They show off like the conferences on a, you know, maybe have a room with a big screen that shows the conferences off where people can go and watch the conference. But on the show floor, you know, you still have games, maybe indie games, smaller publisher games that people can play and showcase and be able to see and interact with, and, you know, new stuff that's coming out, peripherals and new tech and things like that on the show floor that people can come and interact with and be a part of. And yeah, I think that could still be a pretty cool experience. not quite the same, but it'd still be a cool experience. So we'll have to see how E3 shapes up this year. I hope it doesn't die off because I enjoy E3. I enjoy that time of the year. It's like, it's like for sports fans, it's like the March Madness or, the Super Bowl time for them. And for us, it's like that week of just pure gaming news and interviews and, live coverage from IGN and all the other game journalists out there that we just get to watch. And they're constantly on and constantly talking and interviewing people. And it's just I usually have it on. If it's an interview that I'm not really worried about, it's usually on in the background. And if it's something I do want to watch, I'll sit there and watch it. But I usually have it on, right? I usually have it playing and they show off new trailers and various things like that. So it's a really cool time for gamers. So I'm hoping that doesn't go away, because if it all ends up being just these digital conferences and that's it, right? E3 dies, then we're going to have like 3 conferences and it's just going to be a smaller, shorter thing. I feel like, where you're not going to have these one-on-one interviews and things like that, right? I don't know if the journalists will take the time to fly out their people to certain areas, to do all that type of stuff, if it's not going to be as big of an event as E3 typically is. So hard to say, but I think that might be the best route for E3 going forward if the big 3 are not going to participate other than showing their stuff off at the same time, right? What do you think, Pat?
Yep, it's Christmas for gamers or Hanukkah for gamers or whatever you want to call it, or as Jeff Keighley calls it, Summer Game Fest. It's in the summer and it's for gamers, right? It is what it is in that sense, and yeah, I am saddened by the fact that it's not as popular with the larger publishers and developers as it used to be, because if Microsoft's not going to be there, that means Bethesda's not going to be there, right? Which means, it sucks. That's what it means. And that means that our chances of going in peak or heyday are pretty much behind us now. We're never going to get to have gone at the peak of its height, peak of its service, right? And PlayStation dropped out the year before COVID. So they had already dropped out before COVID had hit, and then they just haven't been back. And now Microsoft is dropping out. You would think this would be the big year when a lot of big games are coming out that people want to be there, right? And Microsoft has got a bunch of top end Bethesda games coming out this year, and stuff like that. But I guess, maybe the economy's hurting them a little bit more than we're all anticipating, and they're trying to play it safe. Microsoft laid off a bunch of people, and I don't think I've heard of Sony laying off anybody yet or not, but I don't know if they have or not. It's not made news headlines or big headlines if they have, but Nintendo never comes to E3. They always just put on their little treehouse and steal some of the thunder of E3 because they're on the same time. So, but at least they're going to have a showcase video, right? They're going to do a showcase video. They just won't have a stage presence. They won't have a booth presence or anything. Because that's one of the things as gamers and as friends that we like to do. We like to do conventions of different kinds. I mean, we do board gaming conventions and stuff like that, and retro cons. If they had a gaming convention, like digital video gaming convention around here, we'd probably attend it if it was near us, But, COVID kind of put a hamper on it a few years, and we were all hoping that things would get better over the course of the next few years, but they just have not seemed to have recouped back to those good old convention days. One day, maybe. One of these days, Microsoft will come back, PlayStation will come back, Nintendo will come back in the fold, and we'll have a good one. We'll have a big, big jam, and we'll have to try to get tickets, but we probably won't be successful because tickets are typically over $100, aren't they? Like upwards of 200. So, but I would like to do E3 one year, but I would like it to be a really big one, with all the big boys in play. But that's just me. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're all deciding to go their own way. And now that gamers are used to showcases in the summer, we'll just be tuning in the summer to Sony State of Play, Nintendo's Treehouse, Xbox Showcase. It's just going to be one of those remote televised things forever. E3 remote doesn't have as good a ring to it as E3 in San Diego or wherever, they have it each year. Sad day. Damn you, Microsoft.
Well,
damn you, Phil Spencer.
Microsoft will still do some sort of a stage event, just not at E3. They'll keep it trimmed and slimmed, and it'll focus on their stuff as typical. But they ain't gonna have nothing at the stadium. They ain't gonna have a big display with a giant X where you can go and have your picture taken with a guy pretending to be Phil Spencer in an ultra tight shirt, and it's just not the same. But I miss booth babes. I miss the giant crazy displays. That's what I wish E3 was going back to, but it's just not going to happen. The world of digital is basically making it easier for them to save money. And well, why do I need to go and put a giant display and all this? Well, you do it for the people, you do it for the players, you do it for the base. And they're just, the big three are like, yeah, I think we're done with that. It's like, okay, well, you suck. Granted, it's me being butthurt because I've never got to go to the heyday versions. Like Pat was saying, it's something the three of us have dreamed about, man. It's our freaking Disneyland. I mean, it really is, but it's expensive and it's extremely crowded when public is allowed. And so it really sucks that Microsoft's not going to make it. Nintendo's not making it, hadn't been for years. Sony has been out for a long while now. And like Nick's little, list of developers, like Ubisoft is sitting over in the corner, by the bathrooms. What's that smell? Is that the bathroom? No, that's every game you've been putting out. It's heartbreaking. I mean, it really is, because it's one of those things we all look forward to every year. Even if we're not there, we look forward to the stage shows and the presence and in that last second walk on stage. Oh my God, it's Hideo Kojima. It's Miyazaki. It's the guy from the Geico commercials. It's those little things they always did. That's what made those shows great. Microsoft not being there. Unfortunately, I'm kind of used to it now. I mean, with the big three not being there and everything that's been happening with E3 itself. So it's not a shock. It's just a suck. I wish Microsoft was there. I think Microsoft being the only one of the three that's been showing up, shines on them. But Phil's going to be filming it from his house now, so at least we got that. But what do you guys think? You think some of the other big ones are going to be canceling out, because there's still a lot of doubts and questions on who's going to be there. So, I mean, if Microsoft's out, Nintendo's out, Sony's out, I mean, do you think EA is even going to try due to the whole the buyout from Microsoft? Do you think Ubisoft is going to put on a show? Square Enix, are they going to show up? Are they just going to do their own little digital events too?
I don't know. Square Enix did have that little showcase, and then so did Capcom that not too long ago.
Yep.
They recently had a showcase too. So the big ones like that, and even possibly Ubisoft, might go the route of just having a little showcase. I think the smaller developers and publishers that are still big might have a presence there, but Ubisoft, they don't need to. No one's going to go to their booth or watch their digital thing. So they can just pretty much just hang it out. They only need a 10. They'd be like, Ubisoft, no one's going to cry, They'd be like, was Ubisoft at E3?
Bathroom. Yeah, they're by the bathroom. You might as well stop by when you got to drop a deuce.
Someone's going to pass by and they're like, oh, what are you selling? Rabbits? Can I wipe with those?
Wiping with rabbits.
Rabbits toilet paper.
Not 2-ply.
Yeah, I could see like the bigger, I don't know about EA and Activision and stuff like that doing their own conference and things. They don't really have a lot to show off, I would think.
Well, and Activision has their own conference, which they have confirmed is going to be on again this year. BlizzCon.
Oh yeah,
Blizz.
yeah, BlizzCon. I forgot about
BlizzCon. They're doing BlizzCon again this year. They've already announced that BlizzCon will return this year. So
that.
they
Yeah.
have their own conference in like October or sometime late summer.
Yeah.
So.
Don't I have a phone? I mean, come on.
I wonder if that kind of stuff will continue after the Microsoft purchase.
It'll be
That's a
rolled into the conference for Microsoft more than likely. Now, BlizzCon will probably still happen.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
BlizzCon's pretty popular before it was canceled due to COVID.
Well, hopefully this is not a trend that stays, and next year they all surprise us and go, "We're back," and they all shake hands and introduce one console that they've all put together. The X5 Switch, and it'll be Mario Rabbids with Kratos and Master Chief all on an adventure. Some wet fantasy crap. But you guys got anything else to say about Microsoft doing a no-show?
That would be one
Hopefully-
expensive console.
Hopefully they come back, and hopefully we get to attend.
Yep. All right, guys, you made it to the end. Congratulations. Achievement pops here. Make sure you hit those notifications. Make sure you hit the subscriptions. Make sure you tell your friends, your family, hell, tell your grandma, live or dead, I don't know. But just tell everybody and let us know what you think about Microsoft not showing up. Let us know if you think that's cool. You upset? You don't care? Tell us what you think. And until next time, see ya.